Good evening, all my dear friends across India, across globe. It's a very, very warm welcome to all of you. A warm welcome to you, all of you. Today we have outstanding professors, senior academicians, industry partners, students, and faculty members. And the burning topic is economy is moving forward? There's a big question mark at national level and global level. Today we have our industry partners, Sri Annamalaya, sir, who is an MD of Annamalaya Capital Services, Coimbatore, a very senior person, more than 45 years of academic and practicing experience in the investment, financial planning, and also on the stock market particularly, is a very outstanding person. Then we have Dr. Parin Sumani from London, a leading educator, a philanthropist, and an influencer at global level who speaks and inspires the young minds of India and global at large. And we have Mr. A.K. Narayanan, who is a financial consultant, founder of A.K. Narayanan Associates, Chennai, and is a very senior practitioner in the investment portfolio areas and a very track record person and an advisor to many institutions. And we have Mr. B. Govinda Rajan, certified financial planner and founder of Partha Mart Chennai. And we have Dr. Manju and other colleagues. Recently, I was talking to them, professors from different parts of the country. I have my colleague, Dr. Jayasree. And today, the tone we are trying to set is that how after post-budget, how the economy is moving forward, or what was the trend of the economy since our independence, and how what the things happened during 1991, the biggest change that happened during VP Singh government and Chandrasekhar ji when Rangarajan was there, an influencer for the IMFI. Then how things happen, how the government has changed, how the political will is creating an economic growth. Basically, India is a large, large populatory country, and the political will plays a vital role here. Without political will, the economy will not have its own directions. So we'd like to request all the speakers to set socio-political norms also, then technology also, the part of it, then disruptive environment, what it kinds, then corona factors, then the superpower influence. All this makes a lot of difference of the economic growth. So before we get into a brief video, I would like to introduce Firebird also. Firebird International Business School based in Coimbatore, promoted by industry houses such as Bannari Aman, Siva Texan. Is the backbone of Firebird B School. Entire B School is being supported by the industry people, 100% financial support, moral support, and everything what you say that is all from the Siva Texan Limited. And the brainchild of Firebird International B School is Dr. Sundar Raman, who is a leading industrialist in South India, and with a turnover of Siva Texan itself is 850 crores plus in the group. Then entire family group somewhere stands around 2000 crores plus. So the motive of the Firebird Business School is not just providing PGDM, rather to create an industry link and providing the consultancy services to entire Coimbatore Industrial Hub. And also the program which we run here is a half-day program. Only the students study up to 1 o'clock only. They don't go for till evening classes. We start at 8 o'clock in the morning, we end around 1 o'clock. After that, our students are being put into different industries available in Coimbatore as an intern. They work in the different verticals of the company as an intern for 2 years. This program is not only confined to getting a diploma of master's in business administration, rather equipping them with the industry functional skill. By the time they go from here, they carry 2 years of experience with them. Also, an intern money of 2 lakhs and above. Our Siva Texan also sponsors around 2.5 lakh fee to each student. So if you see that this is a wonderful business school with the 5-star standards. If you come to Firebird, you'll feel that is the Taj West End of Bangalore or anywhere, Taj Coromandel, Chennai. That's all the guests are invited. All the professors who are my friends can just barge in at any time in Coimbatore. Will take in. So this is what Firebird tone is being set. Before I invite our speakers to speak, I would like to set the tone little statistics through a video, and so that it's a small video which warm ups everybody, both the speakers as well as students, faculty, because we all need some statistics to nurture the economy, whether it is moving forward, whether it is needs some treatment, whether it needs some strategy. Can I request Mr. Satish to just play the video? Mr. Satish? Yes. Sound should be there. Sound.
The National Statistical Office on Friday released the first advance estimates of national income for 2021-22 to help the Union Finance Ministry in its annual budget making exercise. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will table the Union budget on February 1 at 11 am. The autonomous body, in its estimates compiled using the benchmark indicator method, said that the GDP may grow at 9.2% in the financial year ending March 2022. It is a tad less than the RBI projection, which had pegged the GDP growth rate at 9.5% for the current financial year. Meanwhile, China is expected to grow at 8%. The estimate suggests that the Indian economy can come back to the level of FY20 in the absence of any strict lockdowns. However, the absolute growth in real GDP over FY20 would be a marginal 1.3%. This means that 2 years of growth had been lost to the pandemic. Nominal GDP is estimated to grow at 17.6% compared to a fall of 3% in FY21. It is better than the 14.4% growth used for FY22 budget calculations last February. It means the government will have the benefit of a higher denominator as the annual fiscal deficit is looked at with respect to nominal GDP. A higher growth rate for nominal GDP than budgeted will have a dampening impact on the fiscal deficit as a percentage of GDP. Assuming that all revenues remain the same as estimated in the last union budget, the government can overshoot its absolute deficit number by some 71,000 crore rupees without any change to its fiscal deficit target of 6.8% of GDP. However, the government is spending 3.28 lakh crore rupees over the budget estimate this fiscal. But given the buoyant tax revenues and expected savings from various departments, it is in a comfortable position to rein in its fiscal deficit at 6.8%. Ultimately, all of this hinges on the government garnering an estimated 1 lakh crore rupees with LIC's IPO. Let us now take a look at how key sectors are expected to perform this fiscal. Agriculture is expected to grow at 3.9%, higher than 3.6% recorded in the previous financial year. This growth may be due to the return of workers of the unorganized sector to their villages where they picked up farming during lockdown. Manufacturing is likely to expand at 12.5%, while construction may rise 10.7%. Trade, hotel, transport and communication, despite showing a high growth at 11.9% this year, have still not made up for the output lost since FY20. D.K. Joshi, Chief Economist at CRISIL, and N.R. Bhanumurthy, Economist and Vice Chancellor at the Bengaluru-based B.R. Ambedkar School of Economics, gave us their views on the first advance estimates.
Well, the good news is that the overall GDP as well as sectoral GDP in many segments, I think, has crossed the pre-pandemic levels. The not so good news is that the recovery is very uneven. I think you can't call it broad-based as yet. Private consumption still trails the pre-pandemic levels, and I think the contact-based services, which are also labor-intensive, they are still 8.5% below the 2019-20 levels. So the unevenness of the recovery is discomforting.
The Indian economy certainly is in a recovery phase, and the recovery appears to be broad-based, except for one sector, that is trade, hotels, and communication, where it's still below the pre-COVID situation. But if you look at other sectors, the rest of the sectors actually, overcome. In fact, they have done much better compared to the pre-COVID conditions.
There seems to be some difference of opinion regarding the nature of the recovery that we are seeing. However, there is no doubt that touch services are once again facing the brunt of the COVID impact. So, given what we know about the status of the economy now, what steps must the government take going forward, particularly in the budget?
Well, the first and the foremost thing is to take care of the healthcare infrastructure in the economy. So more budgetary spending will have to be allocated for that. In addition to that, I think the three important things that the budget needs to focus on is, one is extend support to the rural as well as the urban economy. For the rural economy, it could be in the form of Manrega spending, increased allocation, because the employment position is yet to normalize there. For urban areas, I think as we talked about earlier, the contact-based services are still struggling. And I think so they will require some kind of support from the budget, either in terms of cheaper loans, guarantees, or income transfers to the urban poor. The second thing is that the private investment recovery has been very gradual in India, and it will be very cautious also. So the government needs to keep pumping money into infrastructure. The third issue that the budget needs to address is normalization of deficit over the medium run. This, according to me, should be a very gradual path, and this will allow the government to create fiscal space for spending in critical areas.
I think there is a need to continue the focus on government capex program, which they started in the last budget, and they need to scale up, and they need to, in fact, they had a medium-term perspective on debt and deficits in the last budget, and they must continue that framework. And if they continue, I think one should be able to achieve the public debt target that they have set in for themselves by the end of 25-26. More than growth, for me, the budget, the fiscal policy should actually focus on balancing the debt and deficits and focus on the medium-term debt target. We are not sure what is the medium debt target that the government has fixed. In the last budget, that was one information that was missing, and we do hope that this time around we'll have a medium-term fiscal path made it very clear.
The bad news is in private consumption. Its share in GDP is still lower than what it was 2 years ago. The share of consumer spending in FY22 GDP is projected to be 54.8% compared with 56% in FY21 and 57.1% in the previous year. In absolute terms, it is estimated to rise 6.9%, though it is still below pre-COVID levels seen in FY20. This indicates that in spite of strong recovery in 2021-22 from the contraction last fiscal year, consumption recovery is still not broad-based. Rising inflation does not bode well either. Meanwhile, investments have begun to pick up. According to the estimates, gross fixed capital formation's contribution to real GDP is projected to be 32.9% in FY22 compared with 31.2% in FY21 and 32.5% in FY20. Madan Sabnavis, Chief Economist at Bank of Baroda, says this could be challenging as private sector investment is down and states have been cautious in their capex given the uncertainty on their fiscal balances. Sabnavis says that this number is susceptible to a major revision when the final estimates are released. Meanwhile, government expenditure is seen growing 7.6% this fiscal. While these numbers present an encouraging picture on the economic rebound, the effect of restrictions due to the increasing coronavirus caseload will be known better at the end of this month. That is when the first revised estimate of GDP for FY21 will be released. The release of second advance estimates of GDP for FY22 on February 28th may also lead to revision in growth rates.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard.
30 seconds, stop it now. Yeah, come to the screen now. Yeah, this is basically a warm-up video for all of us so that to brush some, percentage figures and all, and also very specifically for the students community at large. And now the complete session will go, the webinar will go in an order. First, Mr. Annamalaya will speak on the budget and impact in the economy. He's the first speaker and is going to address on the various aspects and various dimensions, various verticals on this, and followed by him, Uh, Dr. Parin Sumani will give a brief outlook. Then we have Mr. A.K. Narayanan, then Govinda Rajan, and then we have a Q&A session. Then after that, word of thanks. And in between, if we feel bored, any one of us, please let us do interact. Because sometimes we feel that, no, I have some point. I should not wait till I get my time. So let it be more interactive. That's the reason basically I started with a video, so that to give a brief outlook on this. Sir, may I request you to start the session, sir. Annamal, sir, you're most welcome on the dais, on the virtual dais now for us. Sir, you're on mute. Unmute, sir, yourself. Unmute.
Yes. Good afternoon to everybody. And I really appreciate Dr. Srinivas Rao, as particularly Ms. Jayashree also, for taking efforts to bring various people from international level for this conference. And few days back, Madam Jayashree was talking about that is the economy stupid, and that is the famous quote by James Carville, and it was encashed by Mr. Bill Clinton during his election campaign. That was the idea that Srinivas Rao also floated, that how we talking about an economy. Of course, friends, I thank you for all the efforts taken by you to bring everybody together on this virtual platform. When you talk on economy, as you put it in the introductory remark, that it's a political bill, because always, the politics plays a major role when you talk on economy. It is, you cannot separate it from the economic process, because in a democratic country, politics plays a major role. But how far we distinguish between the politics and economics depends upon how professionally our politicians behave. That's most important. As such, friends, because everybody know the numbers already you have explained what is the GDP, what is the fiscal deficit, how that the CapEx is planning to do that. All these things have been already explained. Everybody knows the features and the points of the presentation of the budget. But my point in this is that there is a calculated gambling in this budget, because having almost 6.9% of the GDP as a fiscal deficit, the government is planning to borrow almost around 15 lakh crore. That is the biggest point which have to be addressed as far as when I explain about the budget. Otherwise, the sector-wise allocations and investment, all these things, everybody knows that number. But what is the consequences of this budget and how the economy is growing? The first question when you ask that is the economy is growing, absolutely yes, it is growing. There is no doubt about it. And we also growing faster than any other countries, that also to be agreed. But when we talk about, friends, we have to that, yes, we are growing. That growth, if you calculate in terms of the inflation, is it really the growth? Many times, even our own budget conflicts and contradictory between the real GDP and the nominal GDP. Many times, sometimes it's conveniently people are using when they present the data to the public that whenever it is an advantageous to the politics, they take it as a nominal GDP. Whenever it is advantageous, they take it as a real GDP. As such, people, I am not talking about politics, sir, but really when we come into that, if you go through the last few budgets, sometimes people talk about, the nominal GDP. And then sometimes they talk about the real GDP. But for me, as my understanding, what I pick up from the budget is that this size of a gap, fiscal gap, and when a government intend to borrow almost around 15.5 lakh crore to meet the deficit, do we have so much appetite, first of all, to subscribe the government bonds? And who will subscribe, at what cost these funds will come into the system? Then is it this kind of a money flow in the capex? And probably, that there are two ways of an argument. They want to increase the consumption and directly put the money in the hands of the public so that the consumption will increase, so that the demand will increase. Based on that, the development goes in one way of an argument. Another way that put it a long-term measures to increase the capacity, increase the infrastructure, thereby create an employment, thereby you create an income and bring the money to the people's hand to spend on to increase the consumption. Probably is another way to look at that things. But is it that in investing in a capex, okay, it is a slow growth, steady growth, it will be help in the longer run, but it may not work in the short run. It will have the longer run. But unfortunately, we have a system of budget that we never review that what last year I have invested, how much impact on the economy, instead of giving a budget estimate and the actual number, how much impact, how much really you grown, how much employment you have, the numbers are still is a gap. That's a one point I would like to bring into the discussion. The another point is that, especially considering this budget, I think that it will bring a high amount of inflationary pressure on the economies. Already we are witnessing last few months, there is an increase in the inflation rate worldwide, and including USA and worldwide, most of the countries are facing the inflationary pressure. When the inflationary pressure comes in, and then naturally there will be consequences on the impact on the interest. But when we talk about a growth of investment, when we growing further equally, when your inflation also grows, the interest rate goes up, naturally the expected desired impact of the capital expenditure on the industrial production and the offtake of credit from the banking system, whether it will give you a desired effect when the interest rate goes up. That is the most important point which need to be addressed, especially when you talk on the growth of the economy. That is a major factor. I feel that there is going to be definitely a pressure. Of course, the experts have taken, including the finance minister and advisors and all, they have taken a calculated risk of gambling, of widening the deficit, bringing more funds on the infrastructure. We have to wait and see whether it will get a desired effect in the medium term as well as in the long term like that. Definitely not in the short term. The another consequences are going to be when the inflation and in the interest rate is going to pressure on the economy, that it will definitely going to impact on the export and the stagnation. Already we are not competitive on the economic export front when we compare to China and other countries. Especially, when you talk about most of the largest exports of textile and other kind of things which are shifting from various other countries, eastern side rather than India, as we expected shifting from China. It is not happening. So that and further, another missing factor in this, that always whenever we talk about a union budget, and because we live in a federal state, that that the union, a lot of states are involved in the economic impact and the industrial growth, and the deficit of the states are not taken into account, and it's purely presenting the government side on the union government, rather than considering the state's deficit and how much draining we are on the subsidy side from the state side. Unless the state and the center comes into the financial side, the politicals, okay, they play a lot of politics, that is a different. But on talking about, when we talk about the finance, and that they have to be on the similar line of point, so that we can tackle the things better than in a different line of activities. So another major factor I would like to highlight when you talk about the ESET economy is growing. Yes, the same answer, it is growing. But in terms of, that when you say that it is a growing, it's not on the value of inflated value. Because last year my income was 1,000 rupees, today my income is 2,000 rupees. That does not mean that my income has grown. In the real terms, I have to compare with 1,000 is 2,000, it's going to happen every year on year. That number is going to grow. But in terms of real purchasing power, when you talk about that, you look at the critical figure of the interest spending on the Indian government by the Indian. And furthermore, balance of payment. We have a comfortable foreign reserves. That is one of the highlights that everybody is telling India have got a very comfortable foreign reserves. Friends, I would like to put a small doubt on that. Is that reserves, is our earnings? If I have a bank balance of 5 crore or a 10 crore, if it's going to be out of my earnings, then I can say that I have earned this money, I am comfortable with my balance of payment. but it is mainly on the investment on the stock market and investment on other side, and also that mostly on the investment which are all short term in nature, which are not long term in the nature. Last few months, we have been witnessing that the foreign institutional investors have been selling continuously. The reason is that there is a lot of, the training of taking away from the, not only in India, from most of the emerging markets. The foreign investors are taking away the money because of the inflation and the interest pressure. If that is going to happen furthermore in the future, and still there will be a lot of drainage from the investment that will have an impact on the balance of payment as well as the foreign reserves and also on the expected investment. That is the one point. Number two is that if you are going to meet all the deficit by way of earnings, that is a, we are going to meet partly on the sale of an asset, which are all earned long back, and we are going to sell. That is also we are unable to do that because of various intricacies involved in a PSU systems. Last year, 1,15,000 crore was our target. This year, conveniently have been reduced to 65,000 crore also. But that also still doubtful whether we could be able to reach out during this financial year. The repayment of loan from the earning, it's a different thing. The interest outflow from the earning is a different thing. But if you are able to meet out the previous loan and the previous interest by way of fresh borrowing and fresh sale of an asset, it's even though we are growing, I still feel that the growth was not a desired level of comfortable of growth, which makes a foundation for a further growth. That's what I have my own analysis on this. Especially the interest burden, it is increasing because when government is going to borrow almost monthly, there is schedule approximately what I could see, that I may be right or wrong, I don't know. Almost around 50,000 crore every month, the borrowing is going to be from the government securities market. That shows that where is the appetite is going to come to absorb this much of loan. And it's really okay. That see that the idea is good, the vision is good. The vision is to that it's inclusive growth of having, that the five, almost she mentioned the God Shakti and the inclusive development, the preamble of the budget, what they have told is really good, appreciable, which is required. But the major problem, I feel that the great deficit, almost 6.10%, the deficit is really able to do that. Last few years, we have been witnessing that the rules of, that the budget management system is have been floated. It's not met out. There's around 4%, but every year they promise that we will do around 24, we will do in 26, we will do 30, like that. The 4% of that budget management system is not being maintained, it's all floated. That is the most worrying factor, I feel, that when we talk about economic. Is it my time is okay, sir?
No, sir. We can because, but I can again. I'll bring you back because other speaker also there. When they speak, we have cross complementing also. Yeah. So now I see that you are working on RRR, real rate of return. When a person invests, the comparing to invest, I mean the inflation rates, that you're not going to get the real rate of return. So what the last 10 minutes what you spoke is, isn't it, sir? Your focus is the RRR only.
Yes,
that's fantastic, sir.
The fiscal responsibility and budget management have been fixed at 3%. Where is that? When we are going to achieve this? That is the real effort. That is the real growth, because that number have been brought into effect by an act of parliament. That FRA is the most, that a trusted number, the percentage. When we talk about a 7%, when there is a 3%, there is a gap of 4%. Or when we are going to meet that kind of a target, it's going to speculate year on year. We will do it in 1930. Probably now we talk about the 100th year of independence. That we will do 100th year of independence, so that we are going to. Okay, see, growth means there is a different kind of interpretations of growth. Each one can have it. It is again, it is economy stupid. And so that so we can always take it a different way. And I feel that there has been a calculated risk in this budget. Of course, somebody have to take the bets, and then if the focus of government machinery and the private. Every time she has been mentioned that the public-private partnership, but still it's not a defined. Another most gray area, see, one thing in this probably which they make an announcement first, then they try to define that next. That is the most another worrying fact. Last few days, the media, the press, and every economist have been speculating that what do you mean by virtual asset, digital asset, and the taxation angle, whether it's an income tax, whether it's a capital gain, whether it is a asset, whether it's a currency, what is that? There has been, even though, see, this issue is not new to the Indian government. In 2017, a ministerial committee was appointed to talk about and make submission about this crime. And again, 2019, there is again high-level ministerial committee was formed, the report submitted. Nobody knows what happened to this. When you talk, whole country is now going towards the crypto. Well, see, one day they say it's illegal, another day they say illegal. That does not, tax evasion does not mean that it's illegal, because even if you have a stolen money, the government is going to tax it. That when the tax, that does not mean that the earnings are legal. Government, that tax evasions are different concept. And one more point also I would like to, when you talk about that, there is a lot of number gambling happening. There are a lot of numbers, that if you really look at those numbers compared to year on year, there is a lot of loopholes and plugs and holes are happening in the system, where some of them are missing, or some of them are underestimated, some of them are overestimated, some of them underreported. So these things are taken again, it's a politics. And so they have to show that this economy is growing. That's what. Especially the last few days, I'm really worried about the way that the government is handling on this cryptocurrency, and is really worrying, because it's a fundamental of the economics of a monetary management. It's not a fiscal management. It's the more important is the monetary management to control the inflation. And what is the money circulation, how it has been defined, how the RBI is going to bring a digital currency, what way the digital currency is different from a normal currency, how that will work it in the economy, then what will be the exchange, whether it is all these crypto exchanges are recognized or unrecognized, whether there's earning. And they have plugged actually the money transfer from India to anywhere through these foreign remittance schemes is not approved for this kind of a margin trading. But still it is happening. Everybody transfer to Singapore and various places about the crypto investment through the foreign liberal remittance scheme, but which have been prohibited, clearly mentioned in the budget that you cannot transfer money for this kind of a margin trading through this scheme. But still, like this, there are a lot of areas, which floats the basic concept of money management, monetary systems. One side you talk about the fiscal policy, that is a one more area. Another important area, I feel that unless you have a very systematic and sincere monetary management, again you will get conflict between this inflation and interest. With this, I will stop now.
Excellent, sir. It's a wonderful beginning.
We will come join whenever it's required again.
No, there will be a lot of cross, complementing will be there. When other speaker, keeps on going, you can come in and you can barge in, you can say your note. Now, Dr. Parin, are you ready for your presentation? If you're ready, yes. I'll ask my system admin to permit you. Mr. Satish, can you permit him? Permit her?
Yes, sir, I permit it.
Yeah, permit her screen share, yeah. Dr. Parin, you're welcome now with your presentation. You can go for slideshow, man. Slideshow. Yes, that's better. If you click it, it will be, yes, absolutely correct now. Dr. Parin, come to slideshow, that right of your cursor, a little right of your cursor. Can you hear me, Dr. Pareen?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, go for slideshow now. So that
Next slideshow, yeah.
yeah, right side, little right of it.
Little right. Okay, 1 second. I think the system.
You are on the book icon. Next to book, you have other icon right side. That's a slideshow.
Better now?
No, this is still we are not in slides. You have earlier you did, that was a perfect. Again, you start sharing screen. Yeah, this is perfect.
Yeah, perfect. Sounds good. Okay, first of all, I would like to say a very big thank you for having me here. Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening to all of you. Thank you very much, Dr. Srinivas and the team for inviting me. It is wonderful to be invited to the Firebird Institute of Research and Management. It is my pleasure to be amongst Shri Annamalai, Shri Narayan, Shri Govindarajan, Dr. Jayashri, Dr. Manju Gupta, Dr. Rajput, and everyone to whom I know and whom I don't know. Very warm welcome to all of you in the international webinar on Is the Economy Moving Forward? This is an extremely important topic because the world has been facing a global pandemic. And this is very unique situation that has impulsed upon the economics globally. The lockdown, regulation, enforced by the governing bodies has caused major disruptions to the business market, not just in India, not in the United Kingdom, but around the globe. So every organization and the industries and the businesses have had to reevaluate how they operate, how they manage their business, and stabilize their financial turnover, including micro businesses and new startups. If I'm looking at the complying with the governing bodies and regulation that we have experienced during the lockdown, when most individuals were staying safe at home, there was an increased growth rate in industries like healthcare, where the individuals use technology to stay connected to medical professionals. Education, remember, as our students used remote learning platform to continue gaining knowledge. The entertainment industry has grown wide as more and more individuals subscribe to Netflix, Amazon Prime, gaming, social media platforms, also obtaining daily necessity like food delivery services. Therefore, there has been an improvement the technological use of wearable data and virtual reality. The global capital market has become unstable and highly volatile. So due to the pandemic, as we are still living thoughts about it, we are still in that zone of thinking, the full impact is still not evident. As I spend more time in India and the United Kingdom, it is evident, and it is what I feel, this is my opinion, that there are two of the world's most vibrant and dynamic economies. The dynamic economics is increasing in the world, but these two are the main important, which I feel. Individually, each presents major opportunities for trade and investment. So together, they share a strong bilateral flow of trade and investment. The two countries are linked together through a shared history and culture and democratic values. So it is these values, it is these common attributes with the complementary skills and capacity. Love businesses of all sizes in all the sectors. As the United Kingdom has left EU and India looks to fulfill its massive potential, the opportunities for India and UK businesses collaborations are growing, which I'm sure each and everybody are aware how we are working together. It is one of the top 5 economics in the world and one of its largest and the most developed consumer market. So Indian nationals were among the first immigrants to the UK. And today are the UK, the most successful minority group in both education and entrepreneurship. So now the economic growth has been a vital. How? Let's go through it. Economic growth has been a vital component in the nation's progression towards sustainability in the contemporary world. So it relates to the increase in the national income, expenditure, output, and has been many benefits. So this includes higher incomes that are above the average, a reduction in unemployment, which leads to the lowering poverty, a reduction in government borrowing, better education, and improved life expectancies, amongst the others. So it is up to us to motivate ourselves towards the effectively implementing strategies to create a strong economy. There are still disruptions within global supply chains and increased commodity prices. Therefore, together, we need new drivers of economic growth and new ways in which cross-border trade increases. Industrial and supply chains run smoother and more securely, while social development does not cease. By taking this precaution, we can facilitate progress towards global economy recovery. Economic globalization will continue, and countries globally should work together to uphold multilateralism and build bridges towards open communication and understanding to build an open world. And to have an understanding also to build an open world economy. So global governance system should ensure they instill principles of fairness and justice. The use of technological advancement can be utilized, enhancing the digital economy, for example, artificial intelligence. However, ensuring fairness and no discrimination is essential. We should strengthen micro-policy coordination, and every national economy should view the world as one collective community. This will help to ensure transparent policies, promoting sharing information, shape monetary policies to safeguard the world economy, falling again and to avoid serious impacts on developing countries. So through positive gradual change, we can contribute towards making economic globalization more open, inclusive, and balanced, benefiting and strengthening the economy moving forward. Before I end my talk, I would like to quote a beautiful message which Dr. Abdul Kalam quoted, that he said, "You cannot change the future, but you can change your habits. And surely your habits will change your future." So thank you very much once again, Dr. Srinivas and the team, for inviting me here. And that's my pleasure to be among you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was a wonderful, a very bird view from the global perspective, and inclusiveness and equality and optimizing the resources cross-border and also a political will across the globe need to be for everybody. That was a wonderful, deliberation by Dr. Perry. And now I have a very outstanding guest now on Mr. Narayanan, very senior person, and he will be, focusing his thought on FDI and tax impact on the economy, how it rolls out, the different strategies for FDI, on the tax provisions, what is there for various vertical. Sir, you're welcome to go ahead. And also, at any time you find that you need to interact each other, please interact. There's no hard and fast rule that you have to go on chronological order only, because the subject need to be addressed on the spot only. Sir, you're welcome for your deliberation.
Good evening, sir. Thank you very much, Dr. P. Srinivas Rao, for inviting me to be a panelist here. I want to thank you and Dr. Jayashree ma'am and the fellow panelists. I think Dr. Perrin made a wonderful remark about the economy, and Annamalai made a wonderful presentation about the budget. 2-3 points struck me now. When Finance Minister was presenting the budget, she was talking on a longer duration, 5 years hence, 10 years hence, 20 years hence, and all that. Sometimes people wonder what happens to me today and tomorrow. Not everybody feels very impressed or happy that things will be all right after 10 years or 15 years. That way, I think the growth of the economy, we have no issue at all. It is slowly but steadily it is growing. Is it growing to the level we wanted, to the extent we expected, and the potential are we reaching? That's the question. What have we done to stimulate growth, and how are we going to improve the economy today? It can't be everybody cannot raise their hands and say inflation is there in USA, inflation is there elsewhere, so we also have inflation. It is not an answer for us. It is not a consolation for me. How are we going to control the inflation? How are we going to tackle the inflation? How am I going to address the current problems of the population in general? That's the question. Yes, she addressed the burning issue of crypto. Mr. Annamalai also made a remark about crypto. Yes, she said 30% taxation. Let us understand, government is ready to raise revenue from all possible methods and all possible measures, and they have found a great way to raise their resources. One is going to be crypto. Over 4-5 crores of people are investing in crypto. We don't know whether it's right or wrong, but not legalized, not regulated, but still youngsters are going too much into crypto. If somebody asks me a question, I'll say, let us wait for clarity to emerge. But then what happens to the people who have invested money? They need to pay taxes. That's what she said. A lot of expectation were there in the personal taxation front. Many people thought she will jack up the 2.5 lakhs basic exemption to some level, reasonable level, because long time it has not been touched. Senior citizens are struggling today because one side inflation is going up, but the interest rates are stagnating at between 5 and 5.5%. They are not able to meet their ends. So what to do? That's the question in their minds. She has not touched the income tax because the collection has been robust in the last 1 year. Despite the fact that she is able to refund money, still 50-60% increase over last year, the growth in the taxation. She's very, very happy. She's sitting very pretty. Yes, compliance system has gone up. We must say that. People are ready to earn and also pay taxes. There is no doubt about that. Our TDS system is robust. But is that enough? That's a question now in the minds of the people. Lot of ambiguity is there. Everybody thought the long-term capital gains taxes will be streamlined at least. If you sell a land, you have to wait for 24 months. If you sell a share, they say long-term is 12 months. If you sell gold, it says 36 months. If you sell a debt product, it's 36 months. Lot of ambiguity and people get confused. Why can't we have uniform method to define long-term, whether it is 12 or 24 or 36? Let us define it correctly. A lot of things could have been done, simplified it, and help the people who are filing the return. But that did not happen. Likewise, in the taxation angle, everybody thought there will be some kind of a relief for medical insurances. Today, after the COVID, a lot of people have to spend money on COVID-related expenditure, take insurance policies. A little bit of awareness has improved, definitely. We always tell in our seminars, please make sure that you have a policy for your life and also a policy for your health. These two are absolutely a must for you. Then everybody thought she will improve and increase the premium on that, so that deduction will be more. Let us understand one thing very clearly in India, in particular. If I get an incentive to save, I save money. 80C, Income Tax Act says 1.5 lakhs you are entitled. Anybody walking into my room will say, sir, I have already completed 1.3 lakhs, sir, in PF, PPF, LIC. Now I have 20,000 rupees balance. That's all he says. So if there is an incentive to save 2 lakhs, he's ready to put 70,000 also. On the other hand, they'll ask me, sir, do you have any other methodology by which we can save money so that taxes can be reduced? So the incentive system works in India much more than any other place. So she could have mobilized some more savings. After all, in the last 2 years, definitely the expenditure has come down because people could not travel, people could not spend money on clothing, people could not spend money on entertainment. So definitely the saving potential has gone up and people are a little more careful than what they were 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago. Last 2 years have been phenomenal in saving. Yes, we lost good number of people. They suffered, but the saving has improved. Every person has saved a little more than what it was. Where have they deployed it? That is a wonderful question everybody asks. Have they put the money in bank deposits? What have they done? They have put a lot of people sitting at home, working from home. They thought the best method will be to open a demat account and start trading in the share market. Is it good or bad? That time will only tell. Or at least invest in IPO market. They thought it will be a great idea to put money in IPO market. Yes, primary market people took advantage of that. The promoters and merchant bankers squeeze the people by making sure that they collect maximum premium possible from them. Now let us come to the FDI. Mr. Annamalai rightly remarked, FIs are selling in the market. FIs will always come whenever they feel like they'll go out, and this has been happening since 20 years. It is not new. You cannot rely on them at all because they collect money from somewhere, bring it to our country, invest money in the market, and when they find little bit of profit, or if the market is little shaky, or if they find something else attractive, they pull out the money and go out. But the Indian investor is able to save money and put money in mutual fund. That's why we are seeing 11,000 crore of systematic investment plan getting into system month on month. That's a good one, the retail investors. That story is intact. But I am not saying IPO market is vibrant because of the oversubscription, because the pricing needs to be addressed. Corporate governance issue needs to be addressed in majority of the companies. If you are not having proper integrity of the management, and if the pricing of the issues are not good, then people will again suffer at some stage or other. That is why I am saying FDI is much superior route. And if FDI is going to come into India in a big way, lot of advantages are there. Like one example I can tell you straight away, FDI inflow will generate growth. It will also give you employment opportunity. It will also give you technology. What is FDI? Foreign direct investment will help you to give you technology. What we want today is capital, we want technology, and we want some support for export back. Today, the government has done very rightly. The electronic goods have been one of the largest importers in India. Our precious foreign currency is getting away. because of our mobile phone, laptop, and other things are imported from whether China, Korea, or USA, wherever it is. Now they have rightly said we need to manufacture in India. We are doing a wonderful job in that. So any FDI coming into that for investment into India will help us in the creation of employment potential. So that they have addressed very, very well. In fact, the PLI system and FDI system is going to add value. But again, as I said, it may take 2 years, 3 years down the line. Automobile people are coming back into system in India, little bit, but slowly, but steadily. But this technology, if you're going to transfer on a regular basis, I am sure that we will have lot of improvement in our thing. As it is, we are seeing that people are upgrading themselves. The people who are riding in a bicycle are able to buy a two-wheeler. A person having a two-wheeler is able to have a car, and such upgradation is taking place. And youth job creation is a must, and real estate plays a major role. If you look at it, the last 10 years have been a dismal performance of real estate. So FDA getting into real estate is another great area, because 52% of the unskilled workers are able to get employment in real estate. If real estate boom comes back, you will find skilled, unskilled laborers getting employment automatically. The metro is a typical example in Chennai, where you are finding a lot of people getting into the employment region. So infrastructure has been given a major thrust. How do we do that? We get again capital by means of FDI from somewhere, and people pump in money, and that helps you a lot. India is able to generate the top 4 countries in the world. We are in the top 4, definitely in attracting the FDI capital. That is a great one. And the push for digital and technology is not going to be reversed by anybody now. We are going in the direction of technology and digital path, whether it is for healthcare, whether it is for educational system. Thanks to that, we are all able to connect each other from different parts, including outside India. So this is possible only because of the technology base. Now everybody in the shop, if you go and buy, he's saying, please pay by Google Pay. Somebody says you pay by, transfer of your net banking facility. All those things have become very, very simple. Now we have to empower the entrepreneurs. That is what is important. FDA can empower the entrepreneur. See, so many startup companies in Bangalore, startup companies in Chennai, and Coimbatore is always having entrepreneurs. What is required is their capital for them. If somebody is going to give them the capital, they have their technology with them, and they are ready to take the risk and take it forward. I think those things have been addressed, but it is not going to be, solution is not going to be seen the next 6 months or 3 months or 4 months, but it takes some time. Do we have the patience? We never. We are always in a hurry, because we have seen in the past things have failed and we have fumbled in the past. But if you look at the last 25 years, in my opinion, the next 25 years can be far superior, especially the youth, the students. They have to learn the trick of the trade. That students are very should be grateful to an organization like yours for giving such a wonderful platform to learn things at an young age. If only they have that willingness to learn, the commitment they have, and follow the ethical practices, they can go in the higher in the order. That is what is required today. I think we should not hesitate to say that India is a growing economy. It will grow at some pace. Whether it is 5%, 6%, we don't know. 2 days ago, Reserve Bank of India governor made a remark that inflation will be controlled and we are going targeting 4%. But we don't know how and when and where it is going to happen. But he says 4% is thing. Whereas, like Mr. Annamale was saying, USA is suffering because of inflation at 7.5%. Is unheard of. And Monday, there is a likelihood that interest rate will go up there. Maybe 0.25%, 0.5% will go up. That can create rupture in the whole financial market across the globe, because let us understand, 75% of the world investments are in USA. That is why still people are worried about US dollars. 75% of the money goes back just like that if 0.5% is increased. So the pulling out of FI can be rampant and it can create ruptures. So we should not think that the asset bubble, which is created by free money supply, can help the economy in a larger way. It will not happen. But FDI, yes, it can improve. It will strengthen the infrastructure. It will strengthen an empowerment and startup capital and all that. And I think you're seeing that e-commerce, how people are scaling up the business in e-commerce, whether it is Amazon, Flipkart, and all that, they are pumping in money. Despite the losses in the quarter, last year, they are not bothered because they are seeing at some point, they'll be able to make money. Today, sitting at home, I'm able to order anything I want for eating or anything I want for groceries or anything I want, I'm able to make it. And warehousing and transportation is going to be the key going forward because people are not, going to throw away. We are getting California apples. We are getting, pomegranate from various countries. Why not? We have our own air-conditioned warehouses where people spend money and keep it there for 1 month and 1 year and then use it rather than throwing it every day and say we have lost because of the damages and depletion of that. I think a lot more can be done. Our domestic funds are not sufficient. FDA money is more required today. The simple cases are always before us. I think I would like to stop here, sir, and I would like to hear from you more whenever you want. Thank you, Dr. Srinivas, and thank you, panelists.
Excellent, wonderful, sir. Very, very systematically, we have put forward FDI strategy. And I was talking to my students to opt for a career in supply chain management. There were a lot of electives they ask normally. What is that? I said infrastructure, supply chain management is going to have a lot of opportunities. And when FDI comes and entrepreneurial development happen, places like Coimbatore, Tirupur, Erode, and all this belt what we have, starting from Bangalore to Coimbatore, you could see a lot of manufacturing, a lot of supply chain management is going up. And as you said, the e-commerce is going up, and e-commerce is the future now. And a little skill in the digital technology and skill in the little managing the portals and all will definitely will give a lot of impact for the employment. Now I have another speaker, Mr. Govindarajan, who will be focusing. He's very young comparing to other two speakers. I think he will bring some new version ideas with his wisdom, and he's going to talk about savings and investment. And he's from Partha Mart, Wealth Mart. And sir, we would be very interested to know something different. Hopefully that savings are very important. Now, you ask any young guy who is 25, 20, what do you have that? I don't have any savings. I have EMIs only. Today, if we all the metro cities, all the young guys and girls, what they live on EMIs only. House is on EMI, car is on EMI. Even food. Holiday is also in EMI. So how do you convert this youth into saving habits? That's a lot of hard work is required by
Yeah. Oh, thanks, Dr. Srinivas, for the nice session and also inviting me. And one more thanks to Professor Jayashree, who was following it up very diligently for the sake of your students. And I appreciate the initiative the management has taken for enlarging the awareness about the economy and the development of the industry and how the students can make use of it. And thanks to all the management members of the institute, of the great institute. Now, in fact, I have been watching keenly about my earlier speakers. They have done Mr. Annamalai was talking on the broad economic parameters and also what are the concerns on those parameters. He was really addressing it. And Dr. Parain was really made a good presentation on the parameters that holds good for the economic development of a country, whether it's India or UK or the global actually, like reducing the unemployment, increasing the consumption, and the government capital expenses, all those things. She really, in a very 2-3 couple of presentation, did very well. And Narayanan, whom I know personally, whom I know personally, because we are all Chennai. So we have met a couple of times actually. So Narayan, he was very, very specific about what government could have done in the budget from the Nirmala Sitharaman. But at the same time, he covered certain things on foreign direct investment, the government that is taking up. So what I would like to address, as you rightly said, Dr. Srinivas, I need to bring out some change. Okay. See, broader economy is not in the hands of retail investors. With you and me, or at least the students, it is not in the hands of we can't do anything. They are all beyond our control. What is under our control is what I would like to propagate for the sake of, in the interest of the retail investors, actually, from their point of view. So that is why I given the topic for mutual fund growth on economic development, actually. See, mutual fund in the early 60s, it was UTI. The UTI was the only fund which was having a UTI. It was managed by RBI, basically. It was government control, managed by RBI. That was the only institution the Indian investors had at that point of time to invest other than land or gold or stocks, not even stocks, only in that particular UTI. Now, since 1990s, the landscape has really changed. And private players were also there. Banks were also there.
Satish, can mute other people? Can you mute exit speaker? Can you mute other people?
Nandini ma'am, can you please put it mute?
So earlier, what we have done, what we have noticed earlier is that if there is any problem in the, say, for example, Punjab National Bank fiasco or ILFS like type of fiasco, government was relying only on LIC because they had a huge policyholders' money and they could able to improve the situation and bring out, and the LIC was very active with their policyholders' money, and it was doing that. But now, what we have done is that as the economy is growing and we continue to grow, mutual fund investment is now acting as a bridge, connecting the gap between the supply and demand for funds in the financial markets. So we should, and the significance of mutual fund is nothing but just investing in a scheme or generating a return, or not like that now. It is now, in fact, many small cap sector have benefited out of mutual fund from the mutual fund companies because they have been deploying it on the investment that they are getting it from the customers, actually. For example, Indian mutual fund AUM to GDP ratio currently stands at 12%, with a global average of 60%. That means what it holds is that even though the Indian mutual fund industry is evolving and even improving and very dynamically, especially in the last couple of years, thanks to many initiatives from SEBI and regulations from Association of Mutual Funds in India, but what the stand that we need to take is that, as Dr. Parin told, we have to, in her presentation, she told, in the, quoting Kalam's message, you can't change the future, but you can change the habits to change your future. So as retail investors, we should make ourselves involved in deploying it in the market. If as Narayan was telling, blindly investing in through stock market in IPO or something like that, you invest through the mutual fund route, which will not only generate the end result of the money going for the economic development, it also helps you to develop yourself. For example, you see a lot of policyholders are there in LIC, and the policyholders' money were majorly into traditional product, whereas the LIC was deploying it in the market, actually. So they were getting all the profits in the LIC, and wherever they deployed the market or the companies, it got revived. But the policyholders got the yield hardly 4%, 5%, right? But from retail investors has got a very good mechanism of platform through mutual fund, where not only the economy grows, not only the end result of the money that is going is also grows, you also grow. That is important. Unless we grow, there is no point, even if the economy grows, but if you don't grow with your investment, stucking your money in your same 4%, 5%, that means the end result is you can't enjoy your life. In fact, I know certain clients, two people are working, husband, wife, and from the income point of view, they are upper middle class family, in Chennai. But after retirement, they're going to retire. They are say that I can't afford to buy a 2 crore house. Whereas the another client I know, who is a middle class family, that is only one member was earning, but he was deploying his money properly, and he is purchasing more than 2 crore of proper house now. So what is the difference? If you see the difference, the upper class middle family who was very, very conservative got his overall return of 8% gross. So they are under obviously 30% tax. So they would have got even 6% or something like that. But this guy, The another family who was only one person was earning, and that upper middle class family was shocked how he is able to purchase this house. So there's nothing, no rocket science in that. Have our asset allocation, even in our mutual fund industry, it is now around 40 lakh crore. Out of that, 30% is of the money is into the pure equity funds, and I think some certain 20% in debt, and liquid and ETF constitutes another 15 to 17%. So that from the industry point of view, that is okay, because even if the industry grows, even if the percentage remains same, the equity size will grow. But from the investors' point of view in India, you will be surprised. Out of 130 crore of more than 130 crore of people in India, we have mutual fund folios only 12 crore. 12 crore. Now recently it has changed or increased or something like that, but 12 crore. Out of that, retail investors constitutes around 10 crore. So that means we have a long way to go. And if many of the, for example, in the last pandemic, as Narayan was telling, many people were sitting in the house, they opened Demat account. In fact, CDSL, Central Depository, told that in 6 months, 20% increase in Demat account happened. They all done only with the purpose of subscribing to Zomato, Paytm, like that. And think about those investors now of Paytm particularly. So it is, see, they can experiment, or like some want to experiment with cryptos just for the knowledge sake, do it. But first of all, build core portfolio. Core portfolio is mutual fund helps in achieving your all the financial goals, be it education planning or retirement planning or short term or buying of car. Anything is possible through mutual fund. First, build that core portfolio. After that, you take, because it is your money, you have to, it is up to you how you want to take the risk. That as a mutual fund distributor, I can't say like that. But first, build the core portfolio that only requires discipline and dedication with aligning each of your investment with a specific financial goal. That will help you. As far as the industry is concerned, in the industry which was only in 2017 was only 20 lakh crore, has moved to in 2022 it is around 40 lakh crore. So whether it is pandemic or not pandemic, people are able to increase. Now let me tell you the why this increase has happened in the last 2 years. Many experts say that it is because of the pandemic, because they are sitting in the house, or it is because of the technological advance where they can invest online in time. Let me tell you, of course, this is one of the reasons. But another reason of the mindset is that in 60s generation of people who worked in the 60s or 70s, like my father's days or something like that, for them, it is maintaining the house was the biggest challenge. Okay. And they were whereas in the 90s generation, they were able to invest in deposits, not coming out deposits from the bank deposits or land or gold, like that. That was the predominant actually, because they were they want to be secure in their life like that. But today's generation, because they need not take care of their parents, because the parents themselves are well off, and they need not worry about their children. So they have more freedom, they have more liberty. Those tensions are not there. See, they have to take care of they have to take care of their father to the hospital. Like that, those things are, they have to give money to their parents. Like those pressures are not there. So they are trying to entering into crypto or buying Paytm just because his friend is making him subscribing it. But let me tell you, 1/3 of our population is young population. It is one of the best thing that is happening to India. In fact, why Narayan was telling FDI is coming to India, not because they like India. They like India because Indian workforce, 2/3 of workforce is very young or medium age, and in fact 1/3 is very young. That is why they are coming. They can't go to Japan. They can't go to even China because of one is this factor. Another factor is also there. Other beyond rules and regulations and tough policy in China, they are also going for an aging population. Whereas, fortunately, we are a big country and they want to make use of it. It is not, of course, government is also acting in line with that by announcing PLA scheme and all those things. Because just because the government is announcing, public money is not coming here. Let me tell you, money is going to come more. In fact, today, India's foreign exchange reserves is more than $600 billion, which is among the 5 largest reserves across the globe. So we are very, and RBI has been acting very brilliantly in the midst of the pandemic by stopping EMI payments, even at the cost of the balance sheet, affecting the banks and NBFC companies. So today we are able to reach out. And another thing is that because earlier mutual fund investment was less, because if you take, say, I was working in Cholamandalam. In 90s, they were having hardly 100 branches. Kotak was coming up at that point of time. Today, each big NBFC companies are having 1,000 branches across India. That means what? In across 1,000 branches, employment is generating. They are having surplus income. Even I find people crorepathies or employee crorepathies in cities like D cities and even in some in C cities. So what I'm trying to do is that all this money can come as a percentage of their savings to mutual fund. From now, only less than 2% Indians invest in mutual fund even now. You probably it may have to 3% or 4%. But today, our mutual fund AUM has to grow 15% AUM if it grows in the next 10 years. Nominal GDP will grow further. And the growth of mutual fund will be more than nominal GDP, because even if they increase by, say, as I think Annamalai or Narayan said, they were talking about real difference between real GDP and nominal GDP. But what I would like to take this message to the students of Firebird Institute is that you should not look at gross rate of interest. You look your real rate of return. If you don't have a real rate of return, that is, if your return is less than your inflation, that means you people are losing money. Then you have to strive working hard continuously for a long time. Better invest in a scheme. See, mutual fund means all mutual fund scheme is not going to give you double-digit return. Like as I told you, in the industry, 30% is in equity, 20% is in debt, and remaining 13% liquid and remaining in ETF. Like that, you allocate your resources. Some people may have 70% equity. Some people will have 10% equity. That depends upon risk profile and their financial goals. That each one will have a different parameter. So first, when you discuss, and always take a mutual fund distributor or a financial advisor into confidently, so that your situations are well understood and solutions can be given properly. Otherwise, if you do, see, there is nothing in today's technological advance. Investor can go directly, they can invest directly. All these things are there. But what I find is that such investors, once the portfolio is built up, they don't know what to do. If they want to take money, from which fund do they want to take money, they don't know. So, and at the same time, when you do invest directly, people think, I have seen investors even yesterday. Actually, I was told him that in 2022, you will have a 20% equity market correction. See, why I'm telling is that my experience with my clients I'm sharing, so that it gives a glimpse of the about the general people thinking trend actually. So he was telling that, I was told him that at the start of 2022, when we wished the new year message, that 2022 will have some 20% correction will be there, because as many earlier speaker told, rate of interest is going to increase in the US, Fed rate is going to increase, and that will definitely going to impact. And other parameters are also there. So then he called me up yesterday. So you told 20% means market has to come to 53,000 BSE Sensex. So I will invest at that point of time. So we can't time the market at all. We can't time the market at all. Instead, go for systematic way of investment, or invest in a debt fund and go and transfer from debt to equity in a systematic way, which is called as STP. So all these factors, even in fact, I was attending a webinar hosted by a leading fund house and brokerage house. And he himself an investor, a very prominent investor, a stock market investor. He told that if you have investment in gold predominantly, or you just sell the gold, or even sell the diamond and invest into long. If your financial goal is long term, invest in equity funds, or in case you are very knowledgeable on the equity stocks, then invest in equity stocks. At least, in fact, he was talking about 20% annualized return. Let me tell you, at least 12 to even 15% return is also there. You get a real rate of return for your wealth creation. See, ultimately, what is there? See, economy was doing well. That is why our foreign exchange reserves is $600 billion. But I should ask the investor, unless you make your investment properly, your reserves, you can't create wealth. Think about your wealth creation. Economy will be taken care of by finance minister or economist or like that. They will be taken care of. You manage your money well and ensure that you become part of the wealth creation and don't miss the bus. And SIP is one of the, for example, I would like to tell the students, if you have pocket money of rupees say 2,000 or even 5,000, invest 1,000 rupees SIP per month. Of course, there are investors and getting SIP 1 lakh rupees per month. That is okay. They are all well settled. They are doing it. But someone was telling they buy the EMI, like Dr. Srinivas was telling. Immediately after getting job, they get into EMI. Let me tell you this one particular thing. I will tell you. I have seen my own experience with clients. When immediately after buying the house, after getting the job, it becomes 10 to 15 years he will pay. So by the time his family is settled, he will not live in that house because his children will be studying in different school, or he will have some job in some other place or some other country or some other cities, and he will be paying EMI and paying rent also. Instead, generate a corpus, and then and moreover, even if he buys the house at the young age, when he wants to retire in that house, he will find that house not sufficient to his requirement because it's a old house. And if you see the lot of new house which is coming with such a good gateway community with a lot of amenities, whereas if you see a 10-year-old house, you will not even find lift. So what will you do after paying all those EMIs? Create SIP book size as an EMI. Think SIP as an EMI. And for just I'm telling you the creation. At the age of 30, if you start with say just 10,000 rupees out of your 30,000 income, if your 10,000 is your this thing, you become crorepati if you are diligent. Even without increasing the SIP book size by the time you, because the compounding factor is one of the, as Einstein has said, compounding factor is one of the 8th wonder of the world. Please make use of it. Please make, and that if less than 2% Indians from less than 2%, if it increases to 10%, all the money will come to mutual fund. It will not only create wealth for you, the economy will grow further. That will increase consumption, that will increase your lifestyle, all things happens. So with that, what I am trying to say is that mutual fund is one of the, it is going to be the platform which will find the engine for economic development, not only for the country, but also for the investors. With that, I try to sum up my presentation, and any questions that you people have, I am willing to share my insights.
It's a wonderful note of deliberation, sir, and you focus very much on the savings. Unfortunately, our culture is not going to be the savings now. Everybody want to spend. If you go to metros, dads earn, mom earn, and the guys spend left and right.
Yes.
They don't understand that particularly the demographic dividend, what we call the age group of teenagers and to the young guys and up to 35. कल क्या होगा किसको पता, आज जो लेना जिंदगी के मजा आज ही ले. So what in all the guys have said, tomorrow we don't know what is going to happen. Let's sleep today. Party, spending, bikes, clothes, jewelries, whatnot. So you can be the great person to educate the youth of the country, preparing them for a culture for savings and small investment and creating a trust in the mutual funds. And where is our Narayana sir has openly told that FDI entry is very, very important. Without FDI entry, it is very difficult to, how much you borrow the money. So when the investment will be there directly from the foreign groups of companies, our infrastructure will go, our technology will go. The language of stock market will change. The language of stock market only tells everything, the political will or anything. So this is very important. And Annamalai sir has given a big infrastructure layout for the complete budget to the critical analysis is done. Where is the long run? All of you said that where is the long run? Everybody wants to know now only. What is first year? What is second year? What is third year? So while having all these various discussions and deliberations, now we would like to take questions from the audience. I mean, who are the participants? Yes, sir. You want to say something, sir?
Yeah, when before we go for a question and answer session,
Sir, you you are not audible properly. You have to be nearer to the mic.
Yeah, it's okay.
Now it's okay, sir. Yeah.
See, when we talk about the growth,
yes,
economy is growing. Everybody is agreed that everybody's unanimous view that yes, it is growing, and maybe may not be the desired level of growth. And there are two big parameters I would like to highlight, which I missed in my first discussion. Is that one is that how your growth is strong enough to withstand the global volatile. If you are strong enough, you will not fall back too much when there is something happening. That is one of the biggest point we have to look at it. If anything happens in the global world, how our economy is strong enough to withstand. That is, now we look like a very fragile. Something happening somewhere else, we fall too much. If I am strong enough, why should I fall too much? That what is an indicator of that? How you can have an indicator that when the rupee, if you are growing, why the rupee consistently getting depreciated? Then there is one more argument that unless I depreciate my rupee, that I cannot be competitive on the export front. Okay, that is one way of an argument looking at the macro level of economics. I am purely talking on as a student of economics on the economic point of view. So that the growth should give consistent, sustainable, and there is a value added which should be strong enough to withstand. You should not be vulnerable. Even if you are growing 1%, you should be strong. If you are growing 2%, you should be strong. Then the beta impact on the world happening should not have too much on the Indian economy. Probably that is one of the critical areas. It's the macro level I'm telling. I'm not going to the micro point. At the macro level, we should not be vulnerable in terms of a currency, especially that you are dependent upon more oil imports. That is another problem which we are going to face. Okay, now we are taking a decision to go for more on electric vehicle to try to reduce the imports of oil, which are only okay. That's a long-term step. But only one point I would like to insist is that we should be less volatile and less fragile, so that we should withstand in spite of what is happening in the neighboring countries. Okay, fine. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Now, what we do, sir, because the subject is very interesting, and we need to give a complete, overview from all the perspective, and we should lead to a direction to the students and other professors and all the participants. They should take away. There should be some takeaway from three of you. So this will happen after having a question session. When we have questions, the way Annamalai sir is, briefed about the concept. Now, I will also request Narayanan sir to brief after the question hour, because we need to have 5 or 6 questions. Then we'll have some, dialogue between the participants, understanding. Then you can give a better coverage also. Dr. JC, can we take some questions if you have?
Yes, sir. We have put in the chat column.
Mr. Taposh, somebody was there. I would.
I will take up the questions. I will take up the questions.
One question. I think some chat box 40 are there. So you take on priority and list and on order only.
Yeah, from Tapesh Gupta.
Yeah, you just let him know from where he belongs, which business school or which department, student or industry person or faculty. If it is there, that's better. So that vertical can be addressed perfectly.
Sir, Tapesh Gupta, sir. Do you have any questions? The budget is for one financial year, but plenty for 20 years is not right. That's what he has informed.
Budget is for 1 year.
Financial year, but the plan for 20 years is not right.
Okay. Sir, any one of you can take this on your hand.
See, normally, when you talk about, budget, the fiscal is meant for the current year. When you calculate the revenue, when you calculate the expenditure, as he rightly pointed out that when you calculate the revenue for the year, but when you calculate the expenditure of investment, They say that in another 3 years, they are going to do, another 5 years, they are going to do this 5,75,000 crore span of 3 years, 4 years like that. Probably that is the reason she put that rightly, that how can you call it as a 20 years impact, 10 years impact like that. But of course, when you talk about the infrastructure investment, it cannot yield the results in a near short term. You have to wait for a longer term and medium term.
Annamalai sir, your voice is getting little diluted. So sometimes it's coming, sometimes it's going, high, low is going on. You can be closer to your mic.
Yes.
And madam, you can take another question.
Then there is a next question from Shekhar sir. He has said, can I have the query as to what is meant by growth? Is it for a few or inclusive growth?
Narayan sir, you can take it.
Yeah, I think it is a good query. The growth means everybody wants to grow, and the problem here is the richer becomes rich and poorer remains poor. A lot of questions come about which part of the economy is growing, which part of the economy is not growing, whether only few people who are getting a pensionable job and government jobs. All kinds of things are happening in India. India is a large democratic country, and the growth is not uniform, is rightly said. And it is a cyclical also, many a times. See, unfortunately, after 1991, our concentration was on service industry. IT boom was there, service industry was there, and manufacturing was totally neglected. What was the result? Now we are feeling the pinch of it. We are seeing China growing, other countries are growing, but we don't have any kind of growth in India. Now the concentration in the last 18 months, 2 years, is the government is putting back the growth path for the automobile sector and manufacturing sector. So the inclusive growth we are talking about has to be uniform in manufacturing. That only create the potential for employment, and you will see a rapid growth across the country. I think we are going the right path right now, and the infrastructure push is also going to help in the long run.
Thank you, sir. The next question from Sujata ma'am, that number of Indian billionaires grow from 102 to 143 during the pandemic period, and at the same time 4.6 crore Indians slipped into poverty. I need a discussion on this.
Yes, sir. Narayan sir, I think you're going in the right direction. It is both inclusive.
See, what is happening is the Mr. Govindarajan was saying, the share market did extremely well after the COVID. In April 20 market crash, it did very well. That helped the promoters of the companies to grow their wealth much faster than anybody else. So what is happening? If I'm the owner of the company and I'm holding 50-60% of my shares, my share price has gone up 3 times, 4 times the last 18 months, whatever may be the reason, whether the profitability has improved or my earnings have grown, whatever may be the reason, the net result is my wealth has gone up by 3 times, 2 times, 4 times. So this happens normally. That is the reason why Mr. Govindarajan was saying everybody should have some pie in equity. Now, you need not grow, get into the top 100 billionaires or 143. At least you must have some kind of hand in the equity market. You cannot grow by buying gold. You cannot become a wealthy man by putting money in your fixed deposit. You cannot buy 2-3 houses or flats and then say, I'm going to become a billionaire. But by buying mutual fund units or buying the right shares, you can become a billionaire over a longer period of time. So I only want to add the financial habit for this being a student community at large. I want students to follow the financial habits. You've got a healthy habit, which is coming up every time. They're saying, get up and walk in the morning, do yoga, do gymnastics, all these things. The financial habit is a more important thing than anything else. That's what he said. Mr. Govindarajan was saying, you have to save money. I further extended by saying 30% of your income should be saved. And that saving at the preliminary stage should go for equity. And later on, you reduce it down to 25, 20 and all that. Your financial habit will teach you at 45 years, you can retire peacefully.
Thank you, sir. Now, there is Vikas, sir, is there to ask you directly one question.
Yeah, please. You're welcome. Any professor, any industry person would like to interact directly on screen, it is welcome.
Yeah. I also try to.
Sir, Please come on the screen, sir.
Yeah, I try to open my cam, but a host they stop me to show me my face.
Satish,
look, I'm not a celebrity kind of stuff like face, so that's why.
Satish, you please.
So very good afternoon
Yes,
to all the
yes.
panelists. Like, it's a wonderful session. Myself, Dr. Vikas Tyagi. I'm working as a professor and dean, School of Business Studies here in Dehradun and Himgiri University. So, sir, look, what I feel like from last 21 years, I'm also taking all these subjects like economics, accounting, and business studies. What I feel like the policy that the government making, they create a bifurcation between India and a Bharat. As we are talking about, invest in stock market and all, so you can check out like on Google, only 4.6% of the population, they are, invest in stock market. So we are making policy like for Bitcoin or all these things, for only 4.6 people. What about those 95% of the people, those who are not able to, heard about the name of like a stock market and all? And one more thing, since like we are talking about the growth of economics, so the most important point is we can see like a lot of banks are merging. Government might be having a vision of like one bank, one nation, one account. They may be having this type of vision, but why we have disinvestment policy? When we see disinvestment policy, so definitely we have a question mark on our that growth. So these things definitely, look, I'm having in my mind. But again, look, people appreciating about disinvestment policy. LIC IPO is coming, but again, like it's then we are making about like India and Bharat. So we have to work more on what I feel for Bharat, so that the more and more farmers or the people from rural areas or people from C or D type of cities, they can enter into stock market, because either we have to make money market kind of economy or bank based kind of economy. So it's choice of the government or the scholars or the academicians, how we can make awareness about the financial things to the general public. So my question, like, sir, disinvestment, how we look after, like how we look this disinvestment with the parallel economic growth, and this percentage of financial awareness, or you can say financial inclusion.
The financial awareness as an academician, both of you are academician, we need to, under NEP, we need to include financial literacy programs. Financial literacy program is very important. So the culture, we think the stock market is a crime market. You ask many people, when we see police, we are scared. When we see stock market also, we're scared also. Because general people, the common man, they see only the fluctuations. But common man will not see the depth of it. So financial literacy schemes must be it should start from the primary level education only. At least they should know what is money. What is the value of money? The other question I would like to, pass it to our panel members.
With this financial literacy, of course, see, there are a lot of things are happening on the financial literacy. And even the SEBI and the stock exchanges, Government of India, Reserve Bank of India, they're trying to promote the financial literacy. Unfortunately, in our country, the people are lured by high attractive return without the substantial substance in it. That is the biggest problem of, see, we have in the behavior, financial behavior, human behavior. We have to go into the behavioral science. See, if you say somebody that if you invest in this, there is a less risk, you will get around 11 to 12% return. If somebody goes and tell him that I will give you, I tell you that I have a lot of instances in the statistic that people go and lured, or every day I will give you, invest 10 lakh rupees, I will give you every day 10,000. People are lured because the reason is that we cannot blame them. The reasonable interest rate in a banking system is around 5.5% or a 6%, as Narayan and Gojraj put it. And that people do not, it does not meet sufficient for them. So they look for an avenue where they will get a better revenue. Then they don't look into the really qualitative investment. Is it a safe investment? And is it a right way of investment? Whatever the literacy we are trying to do, probably, as you said, that the new generations can be molded up. The present generations are lured by high rate of return without having a substantial security on it. That is the biggest issue today happening in the market. How that has is that how crypto people have invested without any legality, without any regulations, without any recognition, without even nobody knows that who is doing that, what kind of coin, is it asset, is it a currency, what kind of is it a good, is it a services, nobody knows that. But people think that if one person, see who is the best marketing managers, this kind of product, the first one who goes and earn more, he is the best marketing people, and people go behind them. Instead of see whatever Govindra is telling, please put SIP, you will get so much return, nobody will trust. This is a behavioral science of investor. We have done a lot of studies that behavioral science of the investor behavioral science, especially in the financial behavior, how to change a lot. People should first of all give importance to the safety and the liquidity, then the return. People don't bother about the safety when you are giving a lot of promises, false promises, lot of attractions. People fall into the frame. Not only in India, it's internationally happening.
Yeah, that is true. And another, I just want to add one more thing on the financial literacy. See, in other, as far as the mutual fund or stocks are concerned, it is well regulated by Securities and Exchange Board of India. Whereas, for example, if you take a real estate, some people will say to his neighbor, I bought land for rupees 25 lakh. In 10 years, it has become 50 lakh. Oh, your money is doubled like that yesterday. But in our case, in SEBI, as per that, we have to tell only the annualized return, CAGR. So even if my money gets doubled in 5 years, I can say that it is my annualized return is 15%. I can't say 100% return. So when I say 15%, whereas the person who doesn't understand between the absolute return and the CAGR, and the other person tells, see, my money is doubled 100%, but double this land, then he goes into that. Psychologically, he goes into that. Whereas in the mutual fund, even if it 15% annualized return becomes double, 15% annualized return, your money can become double. And many funds are given that actually, and historically also it has given. But people don't realize, oh, it is only 15%, whereas it is 100%. So another point that the professor Tyagi was asking about disinvestment process. See that this is a major finance ministry and RBI and the economists try to come at a way to get money for the government actually. For example, you take Air India. How long the government can pay salary to the employees by running a loss-making company? Okay. Whereas the companies like what even our own Tamil Nadu-based company, airline company, is doing very well. Such a small company. Whereas why Air India? I will just complete it. So they, I am not mentioning only about Air India. What government wants today is that, that money they want to use it for the purpose of capital expenditures. Because today, during the pandemic, private players have not ventured into the capital intensive industries after the outbreak actually, because they are waiting for the government to initiate. Only once the government comes into play, then the private sectors will come into play. After that, the job creation, it will not work overnight. After the job creation will come, its consumption will increase, investment will increase, like that. That is the purpose actually. But specifically, why this company was taken for this investment, why this has not been taken, all those things, I am not expert on that part. But this investment process is being done to get money for the government, and also at the same time make use of that money much more productively, and give the company to another by changing the ownership, so that they run the company much better. Because today, even a normal people will know Tata will able to run the business more professionally, profitably, and at the same time with good customer service. I'm just giving such an example. I'm not BJP or non-BJP, not like that. That is one thing. Second thing,
that is perfect, sir. Perfect, yeah. Perfect.
Second thing is that, see, today their government is struggling to get 1 lakh crore. Okay. Now, my topic was MF growth and economic development. Today, the industry size is 40 lakh crore. Around 3 years back, it was 20 lakh crore. And I think in the next couple of years, you may even touch, it is going to touch very soon to 1 lakh crore. Now you see that 1 lakh crore mutual fund industry going to the economic development. Okay, it will bring the pressure down on the government, so that each will work very productively. What happened when the mutual fund company comes, they will deploy into companies based on the corporate governance and based on the profitability, based on the earnings, above everything, based on that earnings, that money will go there. So that will create more productivity in the economy, which will increase the earning cycle, then consumption, then savings and investment, and job opportunities will also grow, and unemployment will come down. So this is the process that normally takes into account while deciding on the disinvestment process. Specific cases that I can't comment on that. That's my view.
Excellent, sir. Excellent, sir.
One last thing, like as you told, sir, like it's correct. In India, when we have a, like to our son or daughter, we used to say, "Ki please prepare for government job. If you'll get a government job, so life is set." Now, the meaning of this sentence we put in the mind of the kids, like from the early age. So they are having an impression, ki, okay, like if we'll get a job like in government sector, so definitely there is no need to work as compared to the private sector. And we have seen the example of a lot of banks, even BSNL. The BSNL having, they have captured 100% market, but when after that we have seen Hutch, all these companies, private telecom, and right now we have only Jio, or you can say the private players we have. So if we are not performing as a if I'm a government employee, I need to perform. If we are not performing, so definitely government require funds. So they have to sell that. We understand. But like in front of the general public, we used to say, or some of the people used to say, government companies are selling. So that kind of misinformation also like bring in front of again the difference between India and Bharat. So these things we have to minimize. And one last thing, sir, in marketing domain, you have seen like there is a subject called consumer behavior. So whenever a guy or a student take this specialization or took this specialization, they study about consumer behavior. In finance, we are not talking about investor behavior. Why we don't have that particular subject? Like in the beginning, like from last 30 years, we have not seen this. Right now we are talking about behavior finance, or so we need to know about how investors behave in a particular situation, because to get the money for LIC or to get the money for investment, it's very difficult. And again, we have some different type of like scams like in financial sector, which again give a threat to the general public to invest. With these words, thanks to all the panelists for wonderful session and queries. Yeah, over to ma'am, Jayashree ma'am.
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am, you take the next question.
Yeah.
Around 50 are there. My God.
Tapesh Gupta sir. Tapesh Gupta sir.
Yeah, you can speak it, sir.
You can take up your question. You can take
Yeah,
up your
please.
question.
Please, sir.
Sir, actually, I have find in the budget particularly, the budget is giving the not presenting the proper performance of the nation. They have only going for the nationality, but their programs for the development of the economy, they've given the long plan. It is actually required for the 1 year program, financial program. In lieu of financial program, they are giving for the 20 years program. This is the drawback. And second is the tax exemption given to the corporate sector, not to the employee. If the tax slab will be improved, tax burden will be reduced, the bulk of taxpayer will be involved with you. It is a population of 140 crore and only 6 crores are paying income tax. How it is a wonder, sir? Why should not try to search it and just calculate the cost of establishment of income tax office? Oh, how much amount you have collecting? This is the wonderful thing, sir. Nobody is bothered about it. You are establishing the indirect taxes, and how many expenditure you have made for the collection of indirect taxes? Compare it. Only 50% amount you are collecting, but it will be goes to the private sector. They will be collect 90%. Why? Because of our system is very corrupted. You have not tried to check it. Only big officers are deciding the plan. I have seen so many budget programs. I have also the joint secretary in the state government. I have seen they are not bothered about the peoples. They only bother about the poor peoples. those are the voters. This all budgets are presenting for the voters, not only for the educated citizen. If the budget will be produced for the educated person, the nation will be improved. So I request to the government, just think about it. Even sir, income tax act is very tough. Chartered accountant, IAS, engineers and doctors are taking the services from the chartered accountant. What is your the system? Non-educated person cannot be follow it. It is okay. But the educated person are also not followed your act. And you are giving the provision in the act. Everybody knows the provision and legal provision of the act. If you are know or not know, I never bother. You are the citizen. That means you are knowing the all provisions. What is the wonder, sir? It must be rectified. The simplification of income tax system should be adopted. This types of the income tax practice is wrong. If it will be continue, nobody can be collect more and more taxes. All expenses and corruption will be developed. Don't adopt the two policies for the one game. You are giving the civil food supply. One is the 20 rupees, another is 10 rupees, and state government give facility for the 2 rupees kg. Corruption will be improved. People will be try to collect the rice of rations from the shop in 2 rupees. They will make the so many argument and they have to collect it. Now your objective is not fulfilled. Those who is required for the 2 rupees, he will not get it. He will purchase on the market on 40 rupees. Then the situation is the same. If the dual policy, dual price practice should be adopted by the government, or the two same facility structure will be developed by the government, nobody will be beneficial.
Yes.
Take the example of your medical facility. You are giving the medical facility for the poor and giving for the higher level. It is quite different. Why we are pay for the tax? We are paying the tax for the development of the nation, development of the society. You are not asking the where is our money will be go. I cannot ask. No, government is never asking with us, and even we cannot to be asked. It is the rights of the government. After the COVID, we are facing the so many problems, sir. We are giving our pay. We are also giving the donation to the government. We are also cooperating with the society. Everybody is giving the services for the patient. But after the budget, government has not giving the advantage to them. DA has been stopped. Increment has been stopped. After COVID period, they are not giving the relaxation on the tax. This is very bad thing, sir. The government peoples, the parliament members are getting a salary and tax-free allowances. They are improving their allowances, tax-free allowances, and they are free from the income tax. And they are never bothered about anybody who we will see it, what they will be do. This practice is very wrong, sir. Everywhere, two types of the practice has been adopted for the one case.
Right, sir. Gupta ji, kindly you send me some literature on this. What your thought that? Anyway, after this, we are going to write a paper after deliberations. So
I have written the paper.
Yes, sir, please.
One things I have submitted for the professional tax.
Yeah, please
After
send it
that,
me,
the
sir.
government has given the exemption on the professional tax.
Yes.
So this is my paper was presented in 1989.
Please. Yeah, you send me that. We'll discuss with our panel members. We come to a conclusion also, and we publish in our blog. Thank you very much. You gave question and answer both. It is wonderful, Madam Dr. Jashi ma'am. Can we take another question?
So that's it, sir. So can we I request our director, P. Srinivas sir, to give a concluding remark?
No. What we do that now? Satish, are you there? Satish.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Before I give a concluding remarks, so what I wanted to take all the panel members, all audience, what is Firebird, how Firebird looks, because it is an open invitation to all professors, academicians, industry people to come and visit Firebird Coimbatore. We have a nice executive quarters here. You can stay with us, you can enjoy. So I'm giving a motivational video for you to see and come and enjoy life. Satish, can you play a Firebird video? Campus video?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Play with music. Share your screen. because this is an open invitation to all of you to visit our campus. There's no other way to motivate you to come. So I thought of, playing a video only, because this is specifically for Dr. Paring. So she has to come from London.
I like your style, Dr. Srinivas.
What is that style? Now, we all are good friends. We have to enjoy. We have to celebrate the education. Education is not just learning only. We have to celebrate the education now. That as the government says that it's Amrit Utsav, it's also the Amrit Utsav need to be in education. Education, learning, experience, wisdom. That's what we are made for in this country. We were Soni ki chidiyan. We were the once upon a time Soni ki chidiyan. लूट गए सारे लोग. खास करके आपको ब्लेम करता हूं, आपके लंदन वाले लूट गए हमें, लेकिन वापस लेंगे सारे लंदन को भी, ठीक है?
Definitely.
I on this see that I could see that a very serious man today, Mr. Narayanan. Better Mr. Narayanan sum up it, because the wisdom at financial equation, the portfolio, he carries better than us. So, sir, I request you to sum up the entire session and give a direction to all of us where we are going. Is economy is growing or not?
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And first of all, I must compliment and congratulate on the video, what you showed us. Absolutely, it is motivating. And I think the next possible opportunity, I will definitely visit your campus.
Sir, we want to sign an MOU with you. We want to sign an MOU to transfer your knowledge. All the parts ensure that even with every speaker represents a company, and what we need, we would like to have it that you should be in campus at least twice in a year. If you come twice in a year, so we'll be honored and we'll have a lot of deliberation physically also.
Sure.
So please go ahead, sir.
Sir, I think the opening remarks you made, the type of the seminar you're planning for the evening, and the composition of the team, all were wonderful and handpicked. And I must compliment Dr. Jayashree for doing a wonderful coordination to make this happen. Your students are really blessed and privileged to have you as the head of the institution here. And I'm really thrilled and honored to be part of this program. Annamalai sir really made a wonderful account of the budget. He made sure that the type of budget we have shown, and whether it is for the current year or future year or how it is to be done, he explained in various details. Of course, the statistics you showed very well in your video and with statistics, that showed the impressiveness of the whole economy. Then, of course, Dr. Praveen, she made a remarkable presentation. She said what is possible, what is not possible, and what is working in the post-COVID time. That is what very, very impressive. She made a remarkable thing when she talked about entertainment industry. She talked about how things are changing totally. We are all glued to the TV today. She made a remark about the Netflix improvement. No wonder the Netflix shares shot up so steep. Of course, the different point, it crashed later on, but then it went up, and it in a NASDAQ market. So all these things are pointing out to the thing that, the digital thing worked very well and favorably, and people caught on very well. That is the most important point here. I think the learning, as you said, has come from various angles, and including the people who are staying at home could learn things far more greater. I think I also told you the importance of the FDI, how the FDI is going to help the technology, the digital way, how the money is going to flow, how it can help the overall system in the government. Because government doesn't have money. The government wants money from various angles, and one of the method is to bring in money through FDI route. There is no other method. One professor was very upset that the income tax rates were not brought down. I agree with him. But then, they could have done temporarily something. But you must remember, out of 140 crores, only 6 crores are income tax payee. He himself made a remark. Out of that, only 3 crores are really paying tax, and balance 3 crores are zero sum return. So government wants to retain that 6 crore because they also have to show some account to World Bank saying that so many people are paying the taxes in India. If you're going to leave them by jacking up a 250 to 3 lakhs, then automatically many will go out, and they are not sure whether the same number will come inside or not. They don't have that kind of mechanism. But he made a remark saying that collection of money is becoming expensive, but government has done intelligently by roping in TDS as a concept. 91% of the taxes are collected by TDS now. So there is nothing to worry about. People have to fall in line. Whoever earns money, they are paying tax in some form or other, and collection has become very, very easy. Likewise, GST also, they made a huge history. They had some teething problem, but now it is being sailed out, and over 1 lakh crore is collected month on month. It's not a joke today. So all these things have to be done very well. And I also mentioned that financial habit has to be inculcated in the habit for the younger population, like the students here. That's what Govindarajan also explained, how SIPs can improve one's wealth. I think equity as a component is a must if you want to create wealth. I will say that it is like a thali meal where you have chapati or rice. Without chapati or rice means you are investing without equity. Either you must fall in chapati or in rice. But just by touching the vegetables and pickles, it will not work for you at all. So you need to have this component very well. Partha explained the wealth creation method, the power of compounding method, and how the savings help a person to buy a house at a later point of time. You also explained the EMI is a culture today. In fact, my feeling is nobody should buy a house till 35 years, till he settles, and he should at least have 1/3 of money ready-made to pay the upfront money. That time, when he settles down in a place, he should look around for a house than at 25 years. At 25 to 35, save money 25 to 30%. And at 35 years, try to look out for a place where you can stay. There is always a saying, the wise man always buy a house and a fool stays in that. So you must remember that we should never forget that don't buy second house, third house. Just what we need is one good house to stay permanently. You should not make a mess out of it by buying one property, second property, and third property and say, my father has made money, my grandfather has made money, like what Govindarajan was saying. It is of no use. Those times only land and gold were there as an option. Today, you have multiple products to look at, look around. So on the whole, it is a wonderful program what you conducted. I want to compliment and congratulate the Institute for bringing out such a nice program on a day, Saturday afternoon, and roping in so many professors and apart from students to be part of this. I think I must thank you wholeheartedly for inviting me to be part of this program. I'm really elated and thankful to you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. In fact, this program is a result of our Dr. Sundaraman. One day morning he came, really he comes to the campus. He says, Professor, you are there. I would like to come only for a function to be a guest, that's all. And while he was talking to me, Professor, I got some article, is economy stupid. This article I was reading it, just go through that. Then I was going through that, I said, no, we should have a webinar towards this direction. However, is the economy stupid is a title coined by somebody else. We said that other title will be brought into that. That's why it happened today. And I request Dr. Jayashree for a formal vote of thanks to all team members.
Honorable guest, respected director, faculty members, participants, and dear students, it's my privilege here to take a proposed vote of thanks on this occasion. And on behalf of Firebird Research Institute of Research and Management, I wholeheartedly thank each and every who have participated in this event. I thank, first and foremost, I thank the managing trustee, sir, our honorable guest, the honorable Sundaraman, sir, who has taken the spark to initiate this event. And I'd like to thank and support our trustee, Madam Sujana Sundaraman, to be part of this event, to be guiding us at the back and being the pillar of this program. I take up a big opportunity to thank Annamalai sir, who has brought a beautiful insight on fiscal deficit, interest rate impact, as well as talking more importance on nominal and real GDP, and giving more importance about the digital currency impact in the economy. Thank you so much, sir. And I thank Dr. Paran Sumani ma'am, who gave us a beautiful insight, which is short and crisp. She have given a short insight on major factors influencing economic growth and importance of new drivers that facilitate cross-border trade. And this would bridge the gap of global economic system. And also she started telling about the importance, how to strengthen the microeconomic policy, which is need of the hour. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your insights. I like to thank Mr. A.K. Narayanan sir, who gave more importance about the tax regulations, where we are in need of it, still yet to get more regulations as to be improvised, and still there are more expectations from the individual point of view. And it's true, sir, it is true. Every individual spending has been reduced now because of pandemic, and there is a need where tax regulations plays an important role. The economy has to consider more, and also you have concentrated more on FDI, how it is going to make importance, and you have said the FDI route, how it may give more employment opportunity, tech growth, and it is going to be the economic growth as well. And you also insisted on importance of warehousing and supply chain management, which is the urge of present today's world. Yes, true, sir. And also you have given more importance on inflation rate, which is at largest. So when it is going to have impact, we are going to see, sir. Thank you so much for your insights, sir. And concluding remark given by you, sir. Thank you so much. I like to thank Mr. Govindarajan, sir, who gave more importance about retail investor growth. Yes, true, sir. It is very important for every individual to construct a portfolio, and it is very important as the individual when they make investments, that two mutual fund investments, how it is going to impact your financial goal. Yes, true. And how you are telling more importance about the importance of STP, compounding growth factor. Yeah, if every individual know about it, it is going to be the trademark. Yes, they are going to achieve. The economy is going to grow. Thank you so much, sir, for your insights. Finally, I'd like to take up this opportunity to record our hearty thanks to all the participants making this event more successful. We like to inform that after registration today, we have received 493 registrations today. It is really a record break which we have made it, and it's all from your end, the participation from your end. Thank you so much for all of you for making this event successful. I extend my heartfelt thanks to our director, Dr. Srinivas Rao, who is here for us, for guiding us and supporting us from the starting, from making the invitation, putting lots of effort at the back end. For last 1 week, we were rolling here and there and taking the things moving on here today for this event. Thank you, sir, for presiding and moderating the session. Thank you, sir. I like to thank my faculty colleagues who are at the back end to support me always through the success of the event. I like to thank the participants who have given the question and answer sessions. Really,
I would like to give special thanks to Dr. Vikash Chagiji and Tapash Guptaji. So we never felt that you were in question, and we feel that you're part of the session. That's the beauty of that togetherness. So I really congratulate both of you putting a few words of your wisdom, and we would like to see on our board of future discussions also, sir. And this is the way we grow. And Jessie ma'am, anybody else?
Yeah, I like to
and
thank
Manju, Dr. Manju is missing because we could not find that 2 hours 20 minutes has gone simply without knowing that. I didn't see the watch also. Now a mega session, it has concluded so awesomely, so nicely. And Dr. Parin, I would like to, you became the cherry on the cake. I know that the colors have come because you're from London. It became international because you're an international speaker. So once again, thank you all of you, sir. And we warmly welcome you all to come to our campus. Thank you, students and all other members. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much, Vikas, sir. Actually, really, I too have felt the same thing. When I did my doctorate in behavioral finance, investor behavior, I too thought the same question, why people are not more concentrating about investor behavior. That is more importance given to consumer behavior. True. Yeah, there should be a curriculum which should change the management program in finance, where we are going to see in the upcoming where there is a need in the industry that investor behavior is more important to play, as Annamalai sir said also, and all the guests who have said the importance of investor and the behavioral finance, importance of behavioral finance. Yes, we are going to see the boom in behavioral finance in the upcoming years. I also have heartfelt thanks to the support faculty colleagues who have given me a great support at the back end. Also, I thank you so much for Satish and Naveen IT for extending their support. I thank so much finally the student volunteers who I have to mention here, Vishnu, Murali, Ayyappan, Nityashri, and few more students who are at the back end to support and make this event successful. And the students who have participated, and I really make more insights on this type of program and gain out of it. So thank you so much.
and invite all for a certificate, participation certificates. Okay. Invite all. Yeah, invite everybody. All the participants kindly send your details in the Google form so that we can issue a certificate.
I have sent a Google
Sir, please note down our mobile number and mail address. We can interested to participate in the future. You are organizing program.
गुप्ता जी सुनिए ना.
Yes, sir.
आप मेरा नंबर ले लीजिए, डायरेक्टर का ही नंबर लीजिए, मैं आपको दावा देते रहूंगा.
Kindly request.
बताइए सर.
9900.
Yes, sir.
आप तो मित्र हो गए. 9900936467. ये मेरा पर्सनल नंबर है. आप कभी भी मेरे से बात कर सकते हैं. इसी में तो मजा है जिंदगी का.
जी सर, जी सर.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you, Lord.
I request all the participants to fill the feedback form, which is given in the chat box, so that you can collect your certificates.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Namaskar. It was a wonderful session for everybody. It was really, we are all blessed and with your all appreciation. Thank you very much. See you again soon in person, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Again.
Thank you all
Thank
the
you once
panelists,
again.
organizers, teams, students. Thank you.
Thank you.